Paris Fashion Week is more than a series of presentations. It is the stage where the most powerful fashion houses reveal not just clothes, but the cultural language of desirability itself. Among them, one name carries a legacy older than most: Chanel. For over a century, Chanel has defined what it means to be modern, from the freedom of jersey trousers in the 1920s to the timeless elegance of tweed suits. But every legacy must evolve. And in fall-winter 2025/26, Chanel presented a collection that wasn't just about garments, it was about vision. Chanel's transitioning era. This show came at a significant moment, not just in the fashion calendar, but in Chanel's own story. Earlier in 2025, Chanel announced a leadership shift. Designer Virginie Viard had stepped down, and Mathieu Blasi emerged as a key creative force tasked with carrying the house forward. Blasi's ascent marked something rare in fashion, a chance to reinterpret heritage through a new creative lens. And this collection, shown under the iconic glass and steel roof of the Grand Palais, was one of the first major statements in that evolving narrative. What we saw on the runway wasn't merely clothes, it was a translation of Chanel's soul for a new era. The visual language of the collection. The fall-winter 2025/26 collection played like a conversation between proportion, contrast, and memory. And here's where Chanel's codes were cleverly revisited. Black and white, the eternal yin and yang of the house, appeared in new forms. Oversized bows, layered silhouettes, and surprising juxtapositions that felt both familiar and dislocated from expectation. Tweed, the fabric synonymous with Chanel's identity, was reinvented through scale and illusion. Small jackets paired with flowing skirts, micro silhouettes contrasted with wide sweeping overlays. There was a sense of poetry in motion, as if each look was not just clothing, but a narrative gesture. Layers of sheer fabric played against more grounded textiles, and accessories, minimalist yet distinct, walked the edge between legacy and experimentation. This wasn't a collection of outfits. It was a study in proportion, balance, and contrast. The atmosphere of the runway. Fashion shows aren't just about the clothes. They are atmospheres designed to amplify meaning. At Chanel's Grand Palais presentation, the choreography of space and form became part of the story. Under its iconic vaulted glass ceiling, bows and volumes felt amplified, like visual metaphors suspended between classic codes and contemporary imagination. It was less a catwalk and more a conversation between heritage and innovation, a space where proportions were stretched and silences were meaningful. Proportion as power. One of the most striking elements of the fall-winter 2025/26 collection was Chanel's deliberate manipulation of scale. Miniature jackets paired with elongated skirts, cropped tweeds layered over flowing sheers, oversized bows that felt theatrical rather than decorative. These choices weren't random, they were statements. Chanel has always understood that proportion is not just a design tool, it's a signal of power. To alter proportion is to challenge how the body moves through space. To exaggerate it is to reclaim attention without raising volume. This collection didn't shout modernity, it reshaped it. The bow, a symbol reclaimed. Perhaps the most talked about motif of the show was the bow. Traditionally associated with softness, femininity, even ornamentation, the bow here was transformed. Oversized, graphic, almost architectural. In earlier eras, bows were decorative punctuation. In this collection, they became structural anchors. They framed silhouettes, interrupted lines, demanded attention. Chanel didn't soften the bow, it weaponized it. A reminder that femininity, when controlled, can be authoritative. Tweed, re-engineered. Tweed is the backbone of Chanel. It's the fabric that liberated women from rigid tailoring and turned comfort into credibility. But in fall-winter 2025/26, tweed was not nostalgic. It was engineered, treated with new textures, layered against translucent fabrics, cut in ways that felt more sculptural than traditional. This was tweed not as memory, but as material intelligence. Chanel isn't preserving tweed, it's future-proofing it. Accessories as quiet signals. In contrast to the bold silhouettes, the accessories were restrained. Minimalist bags, refined footwear, jewelry that whispered instead of declared. This contrast was intentional. When the silhouette carries the message, accessories no longer need to compete. True luxury doesn't stack signals, it edits them. Chanel understands that restraint, when paired with confidence, is its own form of dominance. What this collection is really saying. At first glance, the fall-winter 2025/26 collection appears restrained, even playful in places. But beneath the bows, tweeds, and contrasts, this show delivered a clear message. Chanel is not chasing reinvention. It is refining authority. In an industry obsessed with disruption, Chanel chose something far more difficult: continuity. This collection didn't attempt to shock the system. It reminded the system who built it. Power doesn't need to announce itself when it's already understood. Chanel in a post-trend world. Fashion today moves faster than ever. Trends rise and collapse in months. Aesthetics circulate endlessly. Novelty is rewarded briefly. Chanel exists outside that cycle. Rather than chasing relevance, the house reinforces familiarity. Tweed returns, black and white endure, silhouettes evolve without erasure. The most powerful brands don't follow trends. They become reference points. This is why Chanel doesn't feel urgent. It feels inevitable. A house without anxiety. There is no anxiety in this collection. No desperation to be younger. No overcorrection, no theatrical rebellion. Instead, there is calm confidence. Chanel understands something most brands forget. You don't protect legacy by freezing it. You protect it by letting it breathe. Fall-winter 2025/26 was not about reinvention. It was about stewardship. Why this show matters. This show wasn't designed to dominate headlines. It was designed to reinforce position. In a luxury landscape increasingly driven by noise, Chanel chose silence. In a fashion world obsessed with disruption, Chanel chose refinement. Fall to winter 2025/26 reminded us of something essential. Luxury doesn't win by changing faster. It wins by changing deliberately. This was not a reinvention. It was a reaffirmation. Of codes refined, not rewritten. Of identity strengthened, not diluted. While others chased momentum, Chanel demonstrated control. Because true luxury doesn't react, it endures. And that is why this show mattered. Not because it surprised us, but because it didn't need to. Chanel remains exactly where it has always been. Steady, assured, unquestioned. At the center. Chanel Fall-Winter 2025/26.